Boom! What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larsen. Welcome back to Sales Funnel Radio. I'm excited for this episode. Today, I want to walk you guys through 10 of the most common marketing mistakes that I see.
I've spent the last 4 years learning from the most brilliant marketers today. And now I've left my 9 to 5 to take the plunge and build my $1 million business. The real question is, how will I do it without VC funding or debt, completely from scratch? This podcast is here to give you the answer. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share marketing strategies to grow my online business using only today's best internet sales funnels. My name is Steve Larsen, and welcome to Sales Funnel Radio.
What's up, guys? Hey, I'm excited for today's episode. So actually, just literally a few minutes before turning the camera on, I was just chatting here with my crew, with Colton and Austin, and we were chatting, and I asked, like, what are the most common issues you see when people are talking about their products? And we were going through, and really fast, okay? Really, and you have to understand our position that we're in, right? And I'm coaching like crazy. They're listening. They're hearing questions. They're hearing my responses. We're going back and forth on a few principles of our own to figure out how to sell more of our stuff, right? It's a very unique room that this is, and so it's cool to think through and sit back every once in a while and be like, okay, what are we learning about this and that? And it's really interesting because I was picking up one of my favorite books again, and I was going back through it, and several of the lessons that of some pages I haven't read yet, which is funny, I just called it one of my favorite books, which is true, it is. Okay, it was a part of the book I haven't really read that much yet. All these things in there that I have been teaching and going through, the guys saying the exact same thing in there. And I was like, man, and I think it's this moment of stopping and reflecting and be like, what am I learning? What are we learning right now? That's been really helpful. And I encourage everyone who's listening and watching this now to do that. Take a moment to sit back and think, you know what? We're on an entrepreneurial journey here, right? I was just doing a podcast interview with somebody, and they were asking me about some of my coaching styles. And I did not try to go out to be a coach. I am a coach, but that's not what I am. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Anyway, I have a motorcycle, right? That doesn't mean that I am a motorcyclist. That doesn't mean I'm a biker. I wouldn't consider myself, you know what I'm saying? It's part of what I do. Anyway, so if we have up here, the goal that you guys want to go for, right? I'm on my whiteboard again here. I love doing these episodes with the whiteboard because I draw so much when I speak. But if I have the goal here of what I'm moving towards as an entrepreneur, this is what I was talking about on the episode that I was just interviewed on, okay, is that while we're progressing, okay, as a coach, as a marketing coach, right, I'm going to go in and I'm going to teach cash models, right? That's what I'm promising to teach. And that's exactly what I do. I teach these models that cause cash as a rule, right? Not an exception to the rule. As a rule, when I do that, right, cash pops out the other side. Now, what happens is when I'm teaching these models, though, there is this really crazy thing that happens inside of each one of us, right? Happened to me, still happens to me, right? As we see, oh my gosh, here's the goal, and we see where we currently are, and you guys know I've talked about this a little bit, in the past. But what happens is I start to say, oh, you know what? I'm not actually worthy to pull that off yet, right? And maybe worthy isn't the right word, but I'm not ready to pull something like that off yet. The me of even a year and a half ago could not handle what I'm doing right now. All right, and it has nothing to do with systems and teams and all that stuff. And although I have those things now, the me of a year and a half ago would not be able to pull off what I'm doing right now. There's no way. I've grown way too much since then even, okay? And so what happens is we're like, hey, I'm going to go hit this goal. And as we start progressing towards the goal, right, all these little blocks, all these obstacles pop along the way. Bam, bam, obstacle, 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 obstacle. And tons of false beliefs about our capacities, about our ability to move forward, what we should be selling, who we sell to. Oh, you know what? I'm glad that business didn't work. Otherwise, I'd be stuck selling in it. You know what I mean? And all these things start to fade. It's like these scales that pop away from our characters. And these character flaws just start melting from us. And this is a very not fun thing to go through. Right, as we go through that, and it's one of the reasons why so many people don't make it. It has very little to do with the model that we're teaching. It has I'm saying 99% of the reasons someone doesn't make it in this game is because they can't hack this. Growth. That's it. And that's a false belief. Everyone can hack the growth. Right? I'm watching my little 1-year-old. She's walking, she's eating, she's teething right now. She's going through a whole bunch of growth of her own. And it's actually super similar to going through growth as an entrepreneur. You can handle it. Everyone can handle the growth. But what they don't have is confidence in their ability to execute. Okay? While these things, now that you know that about yourself and all these character flaws and all these things start popping up, what you have to be cognizant of is like, oh my gosh, I have these character flaws I didn't know that I had. Write them down! Right? Write them down. Become conscious about them. Don't tackle them all at once, and don't compare yourself to another person. It's you against you, and it's you against yesterday, right? But start writing down all the things that you're starting to see, and you're like, man, not that we're seeking this perfectionistic, like, that's not it all either, right? But I can't do a podcast if I'm afraid of speaking, which I was, right? I can't sell if I'm afraid of talking. I can't sell if I'm like, man, I don't know how to use ClickFunnels, and I got to go through a little bit of a learning curve to learn how to use ClickFunnels, right? All those pieces, that's so, like, that's why someone doesn't make it. Not like, Steven, is this going to work for me? Yes, but are you going to work for it, right? You flip that around. Are you willing to do that, right? So the purpose of this episode is, funny enough, not that. But as I'm sitting here and I'm watching some of the patterns that I'm watching inside of both my audience and the ClickFunnels audience, other places, these are 10 reasons that I see someone's product just right off the bat doesn't work, right? It's 10 things right off the bat. It's the way they're speaking about their product that I just, right off the bat, it's like, oh, that's easily why it's not working for you, right? And so I want to walk through just 10 things real fast there. 10 things to just, and this is not a definitive list. I mean, this is the list that we were just rifling off real quick. Like, oh, those are the reasons. There they are. And like the most common things that I see when it comes to why your product is not selling, or you're not really doing a great job at marketing, or issues about when you talk face to face about your product. Massive issues and false beliefs around this as well. Okay, so these are 10 things. Again, not definitive, and I wasn't even going for the number 10, just happened to be 10. Anyway, I would say the number one, again, I don't want to rank these. They said that's more important than this one. That's not what I'm saying at all, okay? Let's say number one here, okay? Number one, and this is definitely one of the bigger ones, is that one of the biggest reasons why people don't sell well is that they're trying to sell everyone, right? Don't do that, okay? Not everyone is a dream customer of mine. I'm not trying to sell everybody. I used to try to. And anything that had a heartbeat, right? Come on over here. Hey, you keeping your options open, right? Like all this stuff. And I'm going through it. I kept trying to sell anything that had a heartbeat. And I went through 17 tries, and then I learned what funnels were, and then it was another 17. And the second 17, I actually was breaking even. I was actually making money. It was still more money than I'd ever seen. It wasn't tons, but it was like, whoa, right? It was working. Okay. And one of the major differences between my first 17 attempts over like 4 years versus the 17 that were afterwards, which again was another 3.5, 4 years. I mean, it took me a long time to try and figure this out. And Steven, it took you that long? Yeah. And now I'm sharing all the lessons so that you guys don't have to go through that because it sucked, right? Hopefully you're coming to offer mine and I can share more with you. Okay, so don't sell everybody, okay? These are like mistakes. Let me just title this. Mistakes. Okay, these are huge mistakes when it comes to selling and talking about your product itself, okay? Don't try to sell everybody. All right, what I do to counteract this is I get extremely clear on who I want to sell, okay? So let me grab, right, in order to fix this, I'm clear. I create a clear who, okay, and I call it the who. And the more clarity I have around the who, the way, I mean, we're talking worlds easier this entire game gets. It's so much easier to figure out what you're going to sell when you just know who you're selling and you figure out what their issues are. Okay. Anyway, that's number one. Number two, next one on here. And again, these are not in order or definitive. Okay. Second one though on this list is people keep trying to sell products that are better than the rest of the market. Stop. Okay? Stop. In fact, I saw a post yesterday. And I was like, never mind. Crap, what day is it? It's Tuesday. Of me making this, right? It might have been 2 or 3 days ago. Anyway, somebody got on. They're like, who wants to get on and help make a better ClickFunnels? And immediately I was like, and maybe we could go get funding for it. And people started talking about how much money they were going to go get for it. And let's go get some VC funding. And yeah, maybe we get, who knows a coder that knows how to code some stuff. And I was like, man, that is like destined for some serious failure already on so many levels. Not just the fact that are we taking on VC funding, but the fact that they're, from the very definition of it, we're trying to make a better ClickFunnels. Like, you're already destined for failure. ClickFunnels is already the category king of the funnel world, right? Be prepared to fight over the scraps, my friend, right? You're gonna. They got like 80% of the market share. Here's your share, right already from the get-go, right? They got so much steam. They have like 350 plus employees, something like that. I mean, they have like, I don't even remember how many devs they have anymore now, but it's a lot, okay? The overhead they have just to keep it up and moving, right? Are you prepared to compete with that? That's exactly the fallacy that people have, though. You can name this any industry. Let's say protein, right? Someone's like, oh, I'm going to go make a better protein powder. That sucks. Man, pull a bulletproof coffee, right? Go pull and make, instead of like, hey, let's go make this, right? Dave Asprey did a completely different thing. Then let's just make a better coffee. He's like, how about let's put butter in it? What? Okay, the key here is that you don't want to be better. You want to be different or new. Okay, stop trying to be better. I'm not trying to be better. That's why I'm not the funnel guy, even though I was a funnel guy at ClickFunnels, right? It would be actually suicide for me in what I do right now, for me to position myself as the funnel guy. I didn't do that on purpose. I did it so that I did it so that I'm the offer guy because it's complimentary. It's different. No one was doing it, right? So be different rather than better. Different or new versus better. Okay, don't be better, right? And as far as the mistake, meaning they're trying to be better, and they're trying to sell everybody. Like, stop trying to sell everybody. Figure out your dream who, right? And the way that you fix this one is by, I would go read a book called Play Bigger and Niche Down. Those two books, it's awesome. It's awesome stuff. Very, very much we'll talk about this piece of it right here, okay? Go in and study and learn how to create things that are different, right? Right, so I need to create, I'm just going to leave it at this is not meant to be like a dissertation. I'm going to keep going through here. Anyway, the next one on the list here is that people don't know what you're fighting for or fighting against. Now, I did an episode about this recently. It's because that's such a huge deal. Again, it's the reason I wear the Capitalist Pig t-shirt so much. It's the reason I push that idea around. The moment people understood what I personally, not just product-wise, but even personally, am fighting for and fighting against, right? It calls out to those people. And they're like, oh my gosh, I am too. And guess what it did? All right, it definitely caused a divide. Now, I'm not trying to divide people, okay? But those thoughts and opinions about what I fight for and fight against, they're already there. I didn't create them. What I'm trying to do is see what my market is fighting for and fighting against, and which ones I agree and completely disagree with, and then just be really loud about it, right? Just be more opinionated about the opinions I already have. I'm not creating it. I'm just being louder about it, right? So a mistake is when your customer has no idea what you fight for or fight against. They want to buy that from you as much as they want to buy the product. In fact, I think it was Seth Godin that said that there's never been a time in the history of humanity where there's been so much detribing happening, right? There's never been a time in history where there's been so much separation amongst people, and people are wanting a tribe. People are wanting to know where they should be and feel included, but they equally want to. They don't want to be in places where they're not supposed to be also, right? To equal levels. They want to be included, but they also don't want to be where they're not supposed to be, right? And so I'm giving that for them, literally with this statement, fight for, right? Well, come fight over here, and then fight against. I mean, I'm actually being a voice for a core human need with this statement, okay? And when people don't know what it is that you're doing, all you're doing in their eyes is trying to sell them another product, okay? When I do this, when I know what this is, man, now I'm joining with a purpose, right? Now I'm saying things like right, the product is the way to fight for. The product is the way to fight against. They don't know what that is, though, unless you can declare it. So anyway, know what that is. Fight for, fight against. I gotta go a little faster here. Okay. I'm fighting for blank. I'm fighting against blank, right? I fight for entrepreneurs, especially new ones, and ones that have done like 1 million to 10 and they're trying to get even bigger. That's really my area. And then I fight against socialism. Okay, that is like it in a nutshell. Not saying to not help people. That's not it at all. I just believe I can help more people when I'm rich than when I'm poor, right? And boom, me being more open and loud about that. Guess what it does? I completely understand. Okay, and if it offends you, just take the lesson. That's exactly what I'm talking about, right? There are people who are gonna want to come learn from me because they're like, yes, right? They're like, I am for and against those same things, Stephen, right? I'm anyway. And then there's people who are like, nah, I don't want to do that. Okay, fight for, fight against. The way to help solve that one is just to listen. Once you know who your dream customer is, listen to them and what it is that they are fighting for and fighting against, and start sifting through them. You know what? No, I do fight that one. I fight against that one. I fight for that one. I fight against that one. Oh, I'm really passionate. Thank you, dream customer base. I am already really passionate about that. Why don't I have that be my 4? Let me keep listening. Okay, fighting against. That's how I chose them. Okay. Anyway. All right, number 4 here. Now this is a pretty common one as well. I don't remember what the stats are on this, but literally we're seeing thousands of ads and brands every day, right? Even if we don't know it, they're always around us. Ads and brands all over the place, thousands of them. And what most people are leading with is their solution, right? Products are essentially a solution. And what they're going around and doing is saying like, hey, come follow me over here, come follow me over here, come up, right? Solution. That's actually an issue. Right? Unless they're actively seeking a solution, which sometimes people aren't. In fact, a lot of times people are not. Right? I want to go in and I lead, guys. Make sure you're leading with the problem, not the solution. Oop. Okay. Make sure you lead with the problem, not the solution. Way to do that is you have to actually know what problem you solve. I feel like most of the time when I'm watching somebody's funnel, they don't know what they're actually solving. Like, you should be able to say, this is the problem that I solve. And if you can't say that around your thing, like if you don't have clarity about what you do or the problem you solve, your customers don't either. Okay? So you need to know, in order for you to lead with the problem, you actually have to know what problem that you solve. Okay, know the problem. Okay. Next one on the list. This is a super common one. This one I see a lot. Because there's some people that do understand this principle, but this one right here about anyway. This one is people sell features, right? This is what I just got this Apple Watch and they're freaking cool, right? I've really enjoyed this thing. I've only had it 24 hours and I'm amazed. But I'll tell you that all these features in here are not the thing that sold it for me. What sold it for me was certain stories about people using it, and it actually improved their lives, right? Right? It had very little to do with features. There are a few features I was excited for, but that's not ultimately what did the sale. What did the sale was my own narrative. Oh man, I want to get healthier. I realized that I actually do spend a lot of time at the desk. I would love it. I know what I track always improves, even if I don't do anything else with it. If I just simply track it, things will improve. Therefore, why don't I track my health and I can become the identity that I know that I am, which is an athlete. It's just I've been an entrepreneur the past little bit and getting this stuff off the ground. You know what I'm saying? So that identity that I have, this gets me closer to my identity. Okay? Stop selling with features. No one usually cares. They're cool little attaboys. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. But they're not usually the reason why somebody buys. It's very, very, very seldom. And don't seek to be the exception there either. Okay? But anyway, selling with features. No. Features. Okay? Don't do that. Okay? Story is greater than features. Oh, what's up, son? Story is greater than features. Okay, and just keep that in your mind. Story is greater than features. If you're like, oh, my product needs one more feature to really make it awesome in order to sell, that's not what they're buying in the first place. Okay? Do you have a story? Right? This is a big one. And people start talking about what's in the offer. Now, that's good, and you gotta tell them what's in the offer, of course. But that's so secondary. It's like number 99. Okay, it's so far down the line. That is not what causes the buying emotion. And if you don't believe me, go find the podcast episode in Sales Funnel Radio called The Fake Book Story. All right, the fake book story is the epitome of this principle right here, okay? Okay, anyway, I'm just going to keep going on these. Next one on here, I got a little list on the side here, making sure I got them all down here for you. One of the biggest reasons you will sell more is, I kind of already talked about it a little before, is you're going to lead with the problem, okay? But in the actual conversation with people, okay? This is how lead with the problem. That's how I kind of create the offer. That's how I create the actual marketing message and the story around it. But I'm saying in the actual conversation, if you're having a conversation with somebody over the phone or face-to-face, do not just start talking again about features. What you're doing, the conversation needs to be guided around their problems. You're not going to call them problems. What are your problems? You're not going to call them that, right? What are your problems? Tell me what tell me what your incapacities are, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. But you're going to focus on their issues, right? And focus on them. Too many times I hear people when they walk up and they're talking with some other person, you'll hear them and they're saying, yes, and the product does this, and the product does this, and it does this, and this. And most of the time, somebody who's purchasing, they don't always see how your product solves their problem. That's why you have to focus on the problem, right? That makes sense? You lead with the problem. Anyway, so keep going here. As far as conversation goes, I'm going to put convo. As far as conversation goes, right, it's about their problems, not your solution. Right? Not your solution. Right? That's not ultimately what you lead with. Eventually you got to get to that. But don't start that way, right? I guess that's it's kind of a remake of that guy there. Anyway. Next one, Technobabble. Yay! Features. Back to the features thing, but Technobabble. Now, saying like Technobabble. Saying Technobabble isn't bad when you're talking to someone else who understands it, right? But if you don't understand it, man, you feel lost in the sauce. There was a few nights ago, we had some friends over and we were just hanging out with them. We were playing, a fun card game, and it was awesome. It was a few of the couples my wife and I are friends with, and they were talking about a show I have never seen before. My wife has never seen before, and I'm not gonna lie, for a little while there, it got a little bit awkward, right? And it's not like I know they listen. What's up, guys? But like that's to illustrate the principle. We've all been in a scenario where you're just like, I don't understand what they're talking about, and it's fine. But like in a sales scenario, a confused mind always says no. So the moment you start saying anything, like I love in Expert Secrets where it talks about how if there's anything that you perceive as being Technobabble, add what's called a kinda like bridge in, right? That's what Russell calls it, and I love that title for it. You add a kinda like bridge, okay? So instead of saying like beta hydroxybutyrate, right? You say it's kind of like if you were to catch the coals on fire at a campfire. How they burn a long time? That's like what that is. You're like, oh, I get it, right? The human brain learns by taking where it currently is and building off of where it already is, right? We don't learn these random pieces of basically code, right? We don't learn these random pieces of information and then be like, how does that connect, right? That's very few people on this planet do that. Instead, the way we learn is by starting at a place of understanding and then seeing how it relates to the new thing. That's how we all learn. That's how your sales message is to be. That's how. Does that make sense? That's how. Anyway. Anyway, yeah. I'm just laughing for when I'm going to get made fun of when they hear this episode. I've never seen Stranger Things, all right? I still haven't done it. I'm playing an Offermind, baby. Let's see. In general, again, some of these are slightly overlapped. But when there's no origin story in general, that's another massive one. No origin story. The origin story is the easiest of the stories usually to create, but it is also the one that can take more time. So just because it takes more time doesn't mean it's hard. But it can take more time, meaning you have to go through and test it, right? And see which parts of the story are actually resonating with your people. That's what they're buying. They're buying the story. One of my favorite examples they give at an event. In fact, I was at an event a little while ago, and I was speaking, and it was fun, and I told everybody to close their eyes, and I said, guys, I want to tell you about this really amazing time, and I'm going to lie my face off right now. And I told them that. I had already done the the fake book story. So anyway, I was like, hey, I'm going to lie my face off, but it's to illustrate another principle here. Okay, check this out. I came home from my college classes one day, and I walk up to my apartment. I remember this. I open up the door, and the moment I open the door, you know, you can just, that's amazing aroma of food, right? The smell of food. You can tell that there's been preparation in there. And you open up that door. I opened up the door and I just get hit with this big old blast of amazing food smell, right? And I open up the door, and sure enough, on the kitchen table in our little apartment, there was this incredible spread of food. And I'm walking out to, I kick my shoes off, and I walk across the floor, and that one place in the floor always creaks. You know that spot, right? And it creaks down, and I walk over, and my wife is in there, and she was making this amazing spread of food, and she had on this apron, and I totally dipped her back and gave her a kiss, and we just had a fun evening together. And I stopped. I said, okay, now let's think about this. What food did you imagine? And I had people saying pizza, Thanksgiving, right? Lasagna, right? All these. What's funny is everyone had imagined a different spread of food. I said, that's really interesting. I was imagining a different kind of food than y'all did. That's weird. This is my story, though. That's weird. I said, now what was the color of the door that you opened up? And people were like, I was imagining this house we used to live in. I was imagining this apartment we used to live in. I was like, oh, that's interesting. We're living in these college apartments. It was a blue door, I remember. It was this blue door. And I said, no, what was the color of the carpet? And people were like, you know, different carpet colors. And I said, well, that's weird. And then I walk across the carpet, and remember there's that one spot that squeaks? Do you remember what it squeaked? And people started making the squeak. I was like, that's funny, man. The squeak was different in my head than in your head. That's really crazy. I wonder why that happens. You have to understand that story allows others to become the protagonist in your story, right? They become the main character in your story. And then when they do that, they use their backgrounds and facts and experiences to experience your emotions. And that's why it's so powerful, right? So to not have a story is not like a small deal. It's a huge deal, right? That's what they buy. They're buying that. They're not buying the offer. The offer is just the justification. Okay? The story is what creates the buying emotions. Now, I'm running out of space here on this board here. But the next two on here, is that people will often sell a product rather than what it does to their own being. Meaning, people are selling the product rather than the transformation. Said another way, people are selling the drill rather than the hole, right? You're selling the sizzle, not the steak. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got to sell what your thing allows them to become and do, and why it allows them to get closer to the thing that they know that they are, right? Very easy to buy and justify certain things when I'm like, well, I am a blank. And you're like, I know. That's why we created this, so that you can have that. And they're like, I get it. Very easy to sell stuff when you sell the sizzle, not the steak, right? And then I'd say probably the number one reason I notice people don't make sales is because they don't close. They just don't ask for the sale, right? They don't. They go in and they say like, well, I got this amazing. I told a story, Steven. I have an offer. I had a great hook. Like, well, how come they didn't buy? I was like, tell me what your closes were, right? What were the logical reasons to act now? Oh, I don't know if I had any of them. That would be the reason, right? That's probably one of the major reasons why nobody bought. Okay, people are waiting for permission to take action. Most of the time, you just have to give it to them, right? Is this something you could see yourself actually using in the future? Because I feel like it'd be a great fit for you. Oh yeah, totally. Do you think that this would be something that you'd want, like, I don't know, sooner or later? Like, would you want these results now, or kind of like, I don't know, maybe in a year from now? Oh, you know, I'd like them now. Debit or credit, right? Bam, just go straight in for it. And that's actually usually when the sale begins, is if they say no, okay? Anyway, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode today. I just wanted to walk through, again, just some of the major mistakes that I see and we observe as I'm coaching and going through. These are some of the major mistakes people make when they're talking about or selling their product, right? They sell it to everybody. Not everyone's going to buy. In fact, there's a dream slice that is like predestined to purchase, right? I want them, right? Sell what's different and new rather than what's better. No one cares about the better. What are you fighting for and fighting against that lets them join with you, right? Lead with the problem, not the solution. That's very key. That's a huge marketing lesson on story outweighs features, because they're not buying features anyway. They're buying the story. Your conversation about the product needs to be focused on their problems, not what you do and you do and you do and you do. And pretty much you're like, oh man, I thought this was about me and if it was a good fit for me. And you just keep talking about yourself, sales guy, right? Anyway, don't technobabble. Make sure you have an origin story for each one of these. Guys, I want to thank you so much for being part of this episode. And hopefully you guys choose to come to OfferMind. Go to offermind.com and we'll see you guys there and see you on the next episode.
Boom! If you're just starting out, you're probably studying a lot. That's good. You're probably geeking out on all the strategies also, right? That's also good. But the hardest part is figuring out what the market wants to buy and how you should sell it to them, right? That's also what I struggled with for a while until I learned the formula. So I created a special mastermind called an OfferMind to get you on track with the right offer and more importantly, the right sales script to get it off the ground and sell it. Want to come? There's small groups on purpose so I can answer your direct questions in person for 2 straight days. You can hold your spot by going to offermind.com. Again, that's offermind.com.